Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be an updated, thankfully, finally, toolbox video. I did one about 2 years ago and I just had a few different tools that I showed you in my video, but this is an updated list of all of the tools that I use to sell clothing on Poshmark and to film for YouTube. I know there's a lot of you who are interested in doing something like that and interested in what those tools are and what those tools might be that I like to use. And if you don't know me, welcome to my channel. My name is Leah. I sell clothing full-time on Poshmark, and then I also love making these YouTube videos, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I'm going to break up this video into 6 categories. Each category is going to have the different tools that I use for that category, and I'm going to put a timestamp for all of the categories right over here. So if there's just one category or maybe 2 categories that you're interested in, you can just go ahead and jump to that category. We are just going to dive right into my toolbox. I have been selling clothing online for almost 4 years, which is crazy to me. The time has just gone by so quickly. I made my first sale back in March of 2015, so I am coming up on my 4-year anniversary. All of these different tools I've just gotten over time, and I might have started with something. I just started with my phone and using my phone, and then I added different tools as I was able to put away a little bit of money from selling the clothes and invest in maybe some more tools. This is going to be my current tools that I use, but I might mention some of the tools that I used when I first started or that I've used along the way that also have been really helpful. Let's just get right into the first category, and that is storage. Once I started listing clothing on Poshmark, I quickly realized that I needed an organized, structured way of keeping the items that I had for sale, because just putting it in a bin or 2 bins or hanging it in my closet wasn't keeping it very organized. So I needed a way to keep it really well organized, and I originally bought just like one clear bin from Home Depot, and I still use these bins, but I've like developed a little bit more of a system. Thankfully, my husband is an engineer, so he has structured everything really well for me, and he is able to work with me on keeping things really organized and developing a good system for storage and inventory. These clear bins I bought from Home Depot. I think they're like $6 a piece, but what I love about them is that they're clear, so I can quickly identify how full or empty a bin is, and I don't have to guess really what's in it. I can clearly see through the bin what's inside and how full it is. And then the second thing that I like about these bins is that they have a flip open top, and I like that compared to a top that you have to like completely remove or push back or push to the side and move. I like these because all you have to do is just flip it open and get whatever you need from the inside. And to store my bins, I have about 30 different bins. Each one is marked with an inventory label. And if you're interested in my inventory system, I have a different video on my inventory system, and I will link that down below if you want to check that out. But I have these shelves that we also got from Home Depot. These require a little bit of like work, or it's more of a project than just buying actual shelves that aren't attached to a wall, but I love these because they don't take up as much room as, say, like a standalone shelf might take up. I can fit 24 bins in like a 5x8 space, a wall space, which is really good for the wall space that I have. The second category is props and lighting. I also have a video just on lighting that goes over the different like tricks that I like to use for my lighting. For my props and my lighting, my favorite thing that I've gotten recently is which was like a year ago now, is a curtain and curtain rod that are I have a white curtain and a black curtain, and I wasn't sure exactly how I would like them when I first bought them, but these are specifically made for photos. This has been really helpful. Of course, this isn't something that I think is really necessary. I think you could use a wall, or you could even paint a wall with white or a lighter color, or you can just kind of like have a setup for a backdrop that can look really nice as well. But for me, I love using these photo backdrop curtains. I think it just helps with focusing on the item, and these came from Amazon. They're so massive. They're just huge. They I don't know the dimensions of them, but I think it's like 12 by 12 or 12 by 14. These are just huge, which is really nice. We attached a curtain rod to the ceiling, which allows us just to push the curtains over to one side if we want them kind of out of the way, or we can pull them. There are different types of curtain rods you can buy online. Like there's one that's like a portable curtain rod that's on, it almost looks like two tripods, and then you can put up the backdrop on top. There's like a rod. I bought one of those before, but I didn't really care for, it just didn't seem like it was that secure. Like I didn't want it tipping or falling, and so we thought of putting up a rod onto the ceiling, and that has worked really well, mostly because I model most of my photos, but it also works really well for flat lays because the curtain is so long. It drapes all the way to the floor, and then I can pull it out a little bit, and it's still just a massive space for me to be able to do flat lays. Another tool that I use every time I list is a measuring tape. I always have that with me, and that is really handy for listing clothing to sell online, just because so many people want to know the dimensions of the item, and having a clothing tape measure really helps with listing those items. And then as far as lighting goes, I love natural daylight. I think that always just looks the best, but I do have umbrella lights that I use, and I love those as well. I know so many people love their box lights. I haven't used box lights before, but I do love my umbrella lights. And then there's one app that I love to use, and this app can be great for editing pictures. I know that they even have like a program where you can edit videos, but that app is VSCO, and you can go in there, you can change the exposure of a picture, you can make it warmer or cooler, and I just love that app so much. I use it on so many of my photos for like Instagram, and I used to use it more for my Poshmark listings, but right now, since I got a better camera, I just use my camera. VSCO also has some filters that you can just apply to your photo that look really awesome too. So if that is something that you're interested in, I would definitely check that out. I think the VSCO app costs $1.99, but I'm not sure. If you're interested in a video just on lighting, I will also link that down below. The third category is photography and videography. The photography is mostly for my Poshmark listings, and then what I use for that, I usually use for my videoing for YouTube. But to start this category, I just this year got a Canon 80D DSLR, and so far I absolutely love it. There were a couple of specs that I was looking for in a camera, and it met all of those specs, plus that camera is so durable. I love it because it has a flip out screen, and there's just so much that I love about my Canon 80D. I use it for taking pictures for Poshmark, which you can adjust the ratio of 1:1, so that way you know what's in the frame for the listing. And then I also use the camera to video, and I love using it to video as well. And then with the camera, I found this tripod. I think it can go up to adjust up to like 6 feet, so it can adjust pretty high. And what I love about the tripod is that you can take out a portion of it and you can just use it as like a handheld camera stick, which is really helpful if you're moving the camera around and you don't want to keep attaching or reattaching different tools to the camera. And then for the audio, the camera has really good audio, but I did get a Rode microphone. This one is really nice because it's just so compact, and the sound quality seems to be really great on it too. I was listing items for like a year and a half. I got a smaller tripod with a phone attachment, and I used my phone to take pictures. That worked really well. I found a Bluetooth camera clicker for the phone. It connected to the phone via Bluetooth, and all I had to do was stand back and use the Bluetooth clicker to take pictures from my phone, and I loved that. I used that for probably 2 years, and I absolutely loved it. That's a really great inexpensive option if you're using your phone and you're tired of doing the self timer. And then for video editing, I use a Dell i7 processor, and it works amazingly fast. I know when I edited a video originally on my old computer, I had to wait so long for a video to process, and it would take like an hour or maybe longer for a video to process. But the Dell with the i7 processor processes the video in like 1.5 times the length of the video. So to process a 10-minute video, it takes like 15 minutes. So I was just amazed when I first edited a video using that computer. I loved how quickly it processed, and I didn't have to wait and check up on it. And then the last item for videography that I highly recommend, it's such an amazing program and it's free, is the program HitFilms. You can download that onto your PC. I love using HitFilms to edit videos. There's just so much you can do with it, and they have free tutorials online. There are add-ons that you can buy and pay for if you want like different things, but for the most part, you really don't need anything other than the basic program that is free. Moving on to the fourth category, which are my tools for packaging. The number one thing that you need to package besides a box is a label printer, and I use my wireless printer. It's perfect because I can just print from my phone and it prints right out of the printer. I know a lot of people love using the Dymo labels. I haven't had any issues with just using my printer, and I love doing it that way. And then I have my free boxes for shipping the items. I get those free from USPS. And what's awesome about those is that they'll just send them to your house for free, and they have so many different sizes that it works really well to order all of the different sizes, and that way I am just ready to ship out whatever sells. When I'm packaging my items, I have this little box that like I pull off my shelf, and I'll put it wherever I'm packaging, usually on like my shelf where I package. And in this box I have my thank you notes, I have tape, I have ribbon, I have all of the things that I'll need for packaging an item, except for the boxes and the tape. I have it all right there in that box, so that way I can just like move it to wherever I'm at and then close it and put it back on the shelf when I'm not using it. But having all of those wrapping supplies in one box is really helpful. I have bags that I put the items in, so that way they're not damaged if the package incurs rain or snow along the way, and that works really well for me. I love using that box, and keeping all of those supplies in one box has been really helpful. And then the final tool, or it's kind of like a tool set for packaging, is my tape gun and my tape. The tape gun I think I just got from a local grocery store. I actually have two of them. I prefer the smaller one just because it's easier for me to handle. And the tape is free from the post office. You can just go in there, ask them. I know different post offices might give different responses, but often if they see you and they know that you're shipping items quite often, they'll give you tape to use for your boxes. The fifth category is clothing maintenance and repairs. I try not to get really items that need a lot of maintenance and repairs, like if there's stains or like big holes or something like that. I just avoid getting it because I don't like putting all that time and effort into repairing. lots of clothing. I do certainly do repairs, but it's not something that I really try to do a lot of. Sometimes I get something and there is a small flaw and I try to repair it or fix it. The first tool I use for that is a shaver. I like the kind that plug in because then I don't have to worry about changing batteries for my shaver, my clothing shaver. The next item is detergent. I like to use, I just like to use Tide, but there's this product that I've used recently that's called Odor Cleanse. They sent it to me as like a trial, and I was blown away. I had a couple of different items that I washed and soaked, and I just couldn't get like a certain smell out of the item. I use this Odor Cleanse. You mix it with your detergent and you can use it on delicate items like silk and lace, and you can also just use it for items like sweaters and throw it in the wash or hand wash it. Use this Odor Cleanse. And I had this one particular sweater that I knew I wanted to use it on, and I mixed it with my Tide detergent and I washed the sweater and I laid it flat to dry it, and I wasn't sure if it would work, but the claims were pretty big on this Odor Cleanse, so I thought, oh, maybe it'll work. And I was blown away with how it smelled afterward. There was like no smell at all. I think Odor Cleanse is a good item to have if you use a lot of vintage items, and sometimes, you know, like the smell is sometimes bad on vintage items, and it totally takes out that smell on vintage items. I've tried it on, and also on like some delicate items. Also sometimes like polyester and those synthetic materials sometimes have a little bit of a smell, and it totally takes that bad smell out of those clothes. I think it's about $15 for a pretty big bottle of it, and you just mix it with your detergent. You don't use a lot, but it works really, really well. The third item that I love to use for this category is my steamer, and this is a really basic model steamer. I know that there are some out there that are a lot more expensive. If something is more of a delicate item like silk, or maybe if it's a linen, I do tend to steam those items, but for the majority of my items I don't steam them. I know if you're steaming a lot of different items that a more industrial type of a steamer might work better, but I love this pretty standard steamer. It works really well for my purposes. And then the last item in this category I think is absolutely necessary, and that is needle and thread. It's amazing how many times this has come in handy, especially with buttons that might be a little bit loose. I love having a needle with different colors of thread, and you can just get even like small little kits to have on hand. And the final item that I use is this item right here. This is a very standard notebook. I love having this notebook to write down my stats from day to day, whether that's my sales. I love kind of dividing up the notebook into like months and then individual days, and then I keep track of the sales and then my personal statistics as far as how many shares I'm doing. Having a notebook to write down just monthly goals and keeping track of those goals and the statistics and the sales has been so helpful for me, just to look over and look back on for different months or different days. And it also has little pockets so you can keep like little notes and stuff in there, and I love having this notebook to keep track of all of my sales and statistics. And I recommend having something like this to write down your monthly and daily statistics, as well as different goals when you're looking into starting a new month. I love writing down my goals for that month and then tracking things day by day, and it's fun to look back on too and go through the book. So this is my last item that I have for my seller toolbox. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please give it a like down below, and if you would like to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. I'm almost to 10,000 subscribers, which is so crazy, but thank you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye friends.